and welcome to the step-by-step guide on how to create your very first D&D character. This is a guide for more manual creation, so not using the DND Beyond site. So whether you're using a PDF or you've printed the character sheet out, this is for you. Today I'll be walking you through everything you need to create a character from scratch, whether you're a beginner or you're just looking for some fresh inspiration. So how do I come up with characters? Well, it's actually a bit of a process. And my first stop is Pinterest. Yep, you heard that right. It probably won't come as a shock to some of the veterans out there. Pinterest is a fantastic source of aesthetic inspiration. I scroll through it all the time until something catches my eye or just sparks that bit of imagination. It can be style, vibe, or color palette you're searching for. From there, I can start building ideas in my head. But the real magic happens with music. Whether I listen to music, be it soundtracks or atmospheric music, the titles and the mood give me character inspiration. It's like the music tells a story on its own. So if you're stuck, try listening to music while browsing Pinterest, and just let the beat inspire you. Now that you have a concept, let's talk about race. This is where things get fun. With inspiration in hand, you can think about which race fits your character. For a beginner character, I recommend picking something simple yet unique. Maybe a human, an elf, or a dwarf. These are all fantastic choices. But feel free to experiment. Don't be afraid to ask your dungeon master if you want to pick something a little more unusual. Communication is key. Once you've chosen your race, it's time to dive into character backstory. I know some people usually pick their class first before this step, so if you want to skip ahead to that section, then you feel free to do so, and then you can come back to backstory. This step is about telling the story of where your character came from. I like to sit outside in a quiet space, close my eyes, and just imagine my character's journey and life experiences. Where did they grow up? What challenges did they face? And listening to the type of music that you think fits your character is very helpful. I would encourage you guys to give it a try. Okay, now that we got a backstory and basic character outline, we're going to choose your morals. This is where you kind of decide really on how your character views the world. Some people don't take this as seriously as others, and some people take this very seriously. So you just do what you find is interesting for you and exciting. Usually you would ask questions like, do they follow a code of conduct? Are they more chaotic, doing what they want when they want? You can either pick or roll for these based on how strong of a character concept you have. Once decided, write them down in your character sheet. Now it's time to get into your class. This is probably one of the most important parts that you will probably come across, because your class defines your character's abilities and play style. For those of you who did skip ahead, hi, but here's some options that you have. Do you want to be a wizard casting spells? Or maybe a sneaky rogue that specializes in stealth? Once you have a good sense of your character's backstory, it's easier to figure out what class fits. Write it down on your character sheet and feel free to get creative. Now let's talk about stats. You can either roll for these stats or assign them based on what your DM has given you. The basic stats are strength, dexterity, constitution, intelligence, wisdom, and charisma. Here's how you roll. Roll 4 6-sided die, discard the lowest number, and add up the remaining 3 die. Repeat this for each stat. And don't forget your race and background bonuses. These can actually modify your stats quite heavily, so be sure to include those when you're filling out your character sheet. Here's the sites that I usually get my resources from. Next, it's time to think about weapons. You can either start off with the basic weapons that are assigned to you from official D&D Beyond, or if your DM is interesting and dabble in homebrew things, you might be able to pick your weapons. My sister was my DM, and she allowed us at level 1 to have 3 common items and then 1 uncommon item we got to pick. And she was a homebrew DM, so we got to have a little creative liberty. But if that's not the case for you, then you can move on to the next step. For those of you who think your DM does homebrew, you always have to ask. If you're scrolling Pinterest and you come across a really cool uncommon item that happens to be magic, make sure you show your DM and all the abilities are reasonable for the game, and then make sure to add those traits and abilities to your character sheet. Alright, now that your character is coming together, let's talk about feats and spells. Feats are special abilities that enhance your character's abilities, while spells are more magic options available to certain classes. For spellcasters like wizards or clerics, you'll want to select spells that fit your character's personality and style. I recommend checking out the official D&D rulebook, or using online resources like D&D Beyond for your spell list. And now for the fun part. drawing your character. This is not a mandatory step, but I feel like it's a really important one for people to really connect with their character and enjoy what they have. This is where you get to see your character come to life, visually. Whether you're an artist or not, sketching a quick version of your character can help solidify your vision. For those of you who didn't realize it, you do need dice to play D&D. And each die will correspond to different roles during the game. Make sure you got your dice ready to go in your very first session. And that's it! Now you got a fully fleshed out D&D character, ready for your first D&D adventure. Remember, this is just a rough guide to get you started. Have fun with it and don't be afraid to let your imagination run wild. Thanks for watching, and if you found this video somewhat helpful or even enjoyed it, then please let me know in the comments down below, and while you're there, please like and subscribe and hit that notification bell to stay tuned for when we post new videos, and let me know if you have any more questions or need any help with your D&D character process. See you next time, adventurer!